Chapter 551, Sonic Storms. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. The incessant roaring of the humanoid fish rose up from below. They flew up from the sea with outspread flame wings, towards Zhang Yuochen and his friends. Even a single humanoid fish was fierce enough, let alone dozens of them. I see. This was where the humanoid fish entered the Xixuan Sea. Zhang Yuochen finally understood what was going on. He finally felt wide awake. The humanoid fish used to live in the lava deep in the Earth's core. They rarely went to the surface, except on special occasions. The bloody trench was incredibly deep, running straight to the Earth's bottom and connecting with the lava layer. The humanoid fish was thus able to burst out of the lava layer through the bloody trench to the Xixuan Sea. Meanwhile, another thing came to Zhang Yuochen's mind. Since the Xixuan Sea was less than 2,000 meters deep, how come the bloody trench was tens of thousands of meters deep? Zhang Yuochen wondered if the bloody trench was man-made. Perhaps the iron pillar that fell from the sky and broke through the body of Xuanwu drove him deep into the sea floor and thus created this trench tens of thousands of meters deep. How much power would it take to make a pit tens of thousands of meters deep? What? A humanoid fish at the fifth change in the fish dragon realm flew to Zhang Yuochen. The humanoid fish wagged its tail and used it to stroke Zhang Yuochen's neck. Zhang Yuochen pulled out the ancient abyss sword with grace. He chopped part of the humanoid fish's tail off with a single stroke. The humanoid fish let out an enraged cry. It waved its claws quickly at Zhang Yuochen, and then it pushed through his celestial body shield and hit him on the chest. Zhang Yuochen held the ancient abyss sword horizontally across his chest. Dozens of flares of sword chi flew out of the blade and formed a sword curtain to fend off the humanoid fish's claws. The humanoid fish used to live in the Earth's core, and it had become used to this kind of hostile environment. Thus, the water pressure had a weak influence on them. As a result, the strength of its attack was extremely strong, driving even Zhang Yuochen back. Whoosh! Zhang Yuochen immediately turned around and rushed into Xuanwu's left eye. He stood on the edge of Xuanwu's eye socket, which was like the entrance of a cave in a cliff. Holding his sword with both hands, he stabbed it forward. A sword chi waterfall come out of his sword and held off the humanoid fish. Boom! On Xuanwu's back, Monk Lidai teamed up with the Black Skeleton Flood Dragon King to fight Emberkulin. In order to survive, they had to team up. Otherwise, the powerful strength of Emberkulin would tear them both up. Zhang Yuochen knew very well that it would not take Emberkulin long to defeat Monk Lidai and the Black Skeleton Flood Dragon King. So, Zhang Yuochen immediately ordered, Blackie, stay here with me to fight against the humanoid fish. The rest of you, go deeper into the body of Cyan Fire Xuanwu, try to get the Cyan Fire Xuanwu inheritance as soon as possible. The eye socket of Cyan Fire Xuanwu was such a small entrance that if one man guarded the pass, he could hold it against 10,000. So, it was safest Zhang Yuochen and Blackie to guard against the humanoid fish, while Huang Yanjun, Alxinian, and the Orange Star Emissary went for the Xuanwu heritage. Zhang Yuochen took out an auspicious vase at once. He held it in his palm, hurrying to collect Xuanwu chi that was flowing out of Xuanwu's body. Zhang Yuochen came to the bloody trench mainly for collecting Xuanwu chi and Xuanwu sacred blood. As for Xuanwu's heritage, he was not that interested. After all, the scripture of Emperor Ming's Empyrean he practiced included extremely high-end practice skills itself. He had no need to modify the incomplete Xuanwu Sutra. Moreover, he also had a Dragon Pearl and the Sarira, which were equivalent to possessing Golden Dragon or Buddhist Emperor heritages. Neither Golden Dragon nor Buddhist Emperor was weaker than Cyan Fire Xuanwu. With these inheritances in his hand, Zhang Yuochen could leave the Cyan Fire Xuanwu heritage to Huang Yanjun, Alxinian, or the Orange Star Emissary. He would just wait and see who was lucky enough to get it. Looking at Huang Yanjun, the Orange Star Emissary, and Alxinian, Blackie said, the most valuable thing on Cyan Fire Xuanwu's body was the Holy Source. The Holy Source not only contained all of Cyan Fire Xuanwu's saint power and spirit, but it also had his knowledge. Whoever takes Xuanwu's holy source will be Xuanwu's true inheritor. Xuanwu's body had many treasures, but nothing was more valuable than Xuanwu's holy source. Xuanwu's holy source was not found on Huang Sheni's body. His cultivation must have been too low to get the holy source at that time. Therefore, the holy source still had to be inside Xuanwu's body. Something suddenly dawned on Zhang Yuochen, and he said in a serious voice, after entering Xuanwu's body, "You need to be more careful. If King Jinhuang already has Xuanwu's holy source, do not fight for it." King Jinhuang had been in the bloody trench for a long time, but nobody had caught sight of him. Therefore, Zhang Yuochen doubted that King Jinhuang had come into Xuanwu's body to collect the heritage. Perhaps those humanoid fish and Ember Kalin had been disturbed by King Jinhuang, so they rushed out of the underground lava and came to Xixuan Sea. Yet, Cyan Fire Xuanwu heritage was not very attractive to Zhang Yuochen. However, for other monks, and even for half-saints, it was a fatal attraction. King Jinhuang definitely cared about Xuanwu heritage very much. He already belonged to the half-saint class, and if he had found Xuanwu's holy source, Huang Yanjun, Aoxinyan, and the Orange Star Emissary would be drawn like moths to a flame. Therefore, Zhang Yuochen gave an order in advance so as to save them unnecessary trouble. Huang Yanjun, Aoxinyan, and the Orange Star Emissary moved at once. They made their way deeper into Xuanwu's body through his eye socket. However, when they came to Xuanwu's throat, something happened. Xuanwu's body started to shake violently. The next minute, an earth-shaking roar came from Xuanwu's abdomen. Whoosh! The howling sound was so loud that it formed a sonic storm. Oh no! Someone is already in Xuanwu's abdomen. He is trying to block us. Retreat, right now. But it was too late to leave now. Rumble. The sonic storm was overwhelming. Huang Yanjun immediately injected genuine qi into the black tortoise armor. It emitted a number of light beams and formed a qi shield to protect the three of them. Glang. The sound wave shredded the shield formed by the black tortoise armor like a sheet of paper. The person inside was not trying to hold them back, but to kill them. Despite their high cultivation, the sonic storm hit them so badly that it broke their eardrums and caused them to bleed from all 7 holes in their head. It sent them flying back and made them feel woozy. Then, they hit a hard bone wall. Their heads were knocked so badly that they passed out and fell limply to the ground. Awful. When the roar came, it drove Zhang Yuochen's body a step back. However, he reacted extremely quickly. He immediately began to use his genuine qi, and he stomped his feet with all his might. His legs sunk half a foot deep into Xuanwu's body like 2 spikes. The sonic storm continued to gush out from Xuanwu's abdomen and hit Zhang Yuochen. Space distortion. Zhang Yuochen began to control the space domain. He ran the power of space slowly, making the surrounding space slightly distorted. In this way, the overwhelming sound wave slid around him. Xuanwu's eye socket was like a trumpet, with the sonic storm gushing out. The sonic storm turned into an overwhelming sonic power, going out in all directions. The humanoid fish that had rushed to Xuanwu's eye socket were all sent flying by the sonic storm. Their bodies slammed against the stone wall in the distance, leaving a large hole. What on earth happened? After the sonic storm, Zhang Yuochen's face was creased with worry for Huang Yanjun. Thus, he immediately rushed into Xuanwu's body, to look for Huang Yanjun. In a bone corner, Zhang Yuochen discovered Huang Yanjun, who was unconscious. Her eyes, mouth, ears, and nose were covered with blood. And, he found a fracture on the back of her head that was bleeding profusely. Zhang Yuochen immediately reached out 2 fingers and pressed them on Huang Yanjun's wrist to take her pulse.